Hilchot Deot, Perek Shishi. We saw at the beginning of Perek Shishi of Hilchot Deot that it is human nature. It is the way in which all human beings are created, that we are influenced by our surroundings, by the society, the people with whom we interact. And Rambam therefore said in Halacha Bet that Rambam began this perek by saying that a person must well, actually, let's go to the very beginning of these parakim for one moment. This is important to stress. We perhaps did not stress it last time. At the very beginning of Hilchot Deot, Rambam writes, Yesh bichlalam ahath 11 misvot, 5 misvot aseh, v6 misvot lo ta'aseh. There are 11 misvot in this section. The first is Lihidamoth bidracho. And this was discussed in the earlier prakim in Hilchot Deot, to learn from Hashem and to emulate his ways as we are able to do. This we saw in the first perek, for example, that one should behave in a balanced way. Rambam said here in Halacha, well, and we saw in other parakim, Perek Sheni, there is the concept of what we call today midot, or Rambam refers to as deot, that a person has to work on his character, on his midot, etc. All these were discussed in previous parakim. Here in Perek Shishi, Rambam discusses the second miswah. The second miswah was lihidabek biyoda'o, to connect with those who know Hashem. Those who know Hashem are the Nevi'im and the Hachamim. Those are, if you know someone else who knows Hashem, vakasha, go to them and spend all your time with them. But as far as we know, there are no such people. Those who truly know Hashem, who are closest to Hashem, have the deepest understanding of Hashem and how to connect to Hashem and walk with Hashem throughout one's life. Every day, these people are the Rambam refers to as Yodha'o, those who know him. Rambam is referring to a high level of Torah scholar or a Navi. And Rambam here began this perek by saying that a person has to attach himself, cling to such people. Lefichach tzarich adam lithaber latzaddikim uleshevet el hachachamim tamid. A person has a choice in this world. One can spend one's time on TikTok, or one can connect to Chachamim. There are, I suppose, also various levels in between, but those are the choices. And according to your choices, that is the life you will have. Why is this? Because you wish to become a certain kind of person, and therefore, if you connect yourself, you attach yourself, you cling to these Chachamim and their students, and you learn from them, then you will learn from their practices, and you'll be able to begin to walk along that path yourself. As with almost anything else, if you want to become a concert pianist, well, then you really have to find those few people who have mastered this instrument and know that it takes 10 hours a day, all your life, to get to that level, if that's what you want to do. And you begin treading that path, which is a very arduous path. Anyone who plays any instrument on that level will testify to this. Kal v'homer, how much more so is this true when it comes to something more substantial, more important, something much higher and complex than playing a given instrument. In other words, creating a certain kind of person. To create a certain kind of person is more complex than creating a pianist, although a pianist is also a very complex thing and a rare thing. A person of the highest caliber is a very rare thing.
Rabbi?
But here we're talking about creating what in Yiddish we might refer to as a mensch. In Hebrew we would refer to as a Talmid Chachamim. I'll tell you briefly a true story. There was a certain yeshiva in a certain country with which I'm familiar, and the person who had established this yeshiva or these institutions, there was a yeshiva, there was a school, a day school, etc. This is in Chutz La'aretz, a very large operation, and therefore it requires a lot of money. And they ran into various financial difficulties. So eventually things became so, the situation became so serious that the head of these organizations and his right-hand man, they had to go to the bank manager and explain the situation. And they wish to take out a loan, and we wish you to be patient, etc. We'll come up with the money eventually. And of course, the bank manager, not being Jewish and not being part of a scholar of Torah and not understanding Bichlal what this is all about, well, he understands the bottom line, which didn't look quite right. The numbers were wrong. So he said, we really can't help you. But this rabbi was not the kind of person who could take no for an answer. And he began to become very, very heated and tried to explain to this individual, this bank manager, this is a true story because I heard it from someone who was present, that you don't understand, this is not just a school. This is not just one more institution or operation with which you come into contact. He says, do you know what we do in our institutions? We create mention. We take human beings and we turn them into a mensch. Then he tried to explain to him, which is not an easy thing, to explain to such a person what a mensch is. Again, this is a true story. This is the most challenging and most difficult of endeavors. So if a person wants to be that kind of a person, one has to make a choice in life. With whom are you going to spend your time? Which direction are you going to go? That's what Rambam tells you at the moment. At the beginning of this Perek Shishi, Vithrahek min harashaim ha'olachim b'choshech. And yes, according to the Torah, those who choose a different path are on a path which we view as walking in darkness. Maybe other people don't deem it to be so, but we do. And again, you have to make a choice. Do you want the light? Do you want the dark? And the choice is there. Rabbi? The choice is yours. Then Rambam continues in Halacha Beth, if you are living in a place where people are, the general atmosphere, etc., is not positive, not based on this derech yeshara. It is not based on the ways of the Torah, but all the other systems which we refer to as choshech. Then you should move away, find a place which is different or better. And Rambam went as far as to say, and if you find that the people in your area are not just not the kind of people with whom you would wish to associate, not the kind of people who are conducive to creating other mention, as we said before, but they're actually evil to the extent שאין מניחים אותו לשב במדינה, אלא אם כן נתערב עמהם ונוהג במנהגם הרע. Basically, they insist that you be like them, that you think like them, that you act like them. And Rambam said previously that even in his day, Rambam said, if all the places, in כל המדינות שהוא יודען ושומע שמועתן, נוהגים בדרך זו, בדרך לא טובה, I'm sorry, כמו זמננו זה, as it is in our time, then you should find somewhere else. And if these people do not allow you to live in the most simple manner according to what you perceive and understand to be correct, one should, if necessary, flee to the desert, because you cannot live with such people in the long term and live the life that you are supposed to live. That's even true for yourself, generally speaking. How much more so for a person who is trying to raise a family, etc.
Rabbi?
Now Rambam continues and says in Halacha Gimel or Halacha Beth, Mishwath aseh lidabek b'chachamim. So when we said before that when Rambam said at the beginning of these halachot, Hilchot Deot, lihidabek b'yoda'o, now Rambam is telling you who these people are. Miswath aseh lihidabek b'chachamim kedei linod mima'asehem. It is a miswath aseh to cleave to hachamim, people who are steeped in the Torah, in order specifically to learn from their ways, from their practices, their behavior. For uvot. The pasuk, after all, states, as we see here, this is in Devarim Perek Yod, pasuk Kaf. You see here, Et Adonai Elohecha tira, otho ta'avod. Excuse me. Et Adonai Elohecha tira, otho ta'avod, uvot tidbak, uvishmo tishavea. How exactly can you connect yourself to Hashem? Rambam continues. V'chi efshar le'adam lehidabek b'shechina. How can one do this? Ela kach amaru hachamim beferush mitzvah zo. The hachamim taught us and explained. Hadavek b'hachamim v'talmidehem. Hidabek b'hachamim u'v'talmidehem. Attach yourself to such people. לפיכך, therefore, צריך אדם להשתדל שיישא בeth תלמיד חכמים. Precisely for this reason, a person should try his utmost. צריך להשתדל is a term that Rambam uses, as I recall, in three places. I recall offhand. One is here. Another one is in Hilchot Tefillin Perek Revi'i, as I recall, and the other is in Hilchot Korban Pesach. I think it's Perek Asiri. In each of these places, Tzarich Lishtadel means that a person must do his utmost, even though sometimes it may not be possible for a person to achieve this. But one is to do one's utmost to live up to this following instruction or this idea. With regards to Tefillin, Rambam writes in Perek Revi'i, The end of Perek Revi'i in Hilchot Tefillin. Let me show you very briefly. Perek Halacha Kaf He. Kedushat Tefillin Kedusha Gedolahi. There is a great amount of kedusha attached to the tefillin, which are essentially a mobile sefer Torah that a person wears. Shekol zeman shetefillin al rosho shel adam wa al zro'o, as long as one is wearing tefillin, hu ano v'yareh. So it should be, if one has any understanding at all, then this itself should influence a person to be ano, humble, and yareh, and God-fearing. And in wearing tefillin, a person cannot really, again, if he has any understanding at all, he cannot really engage in frivolous, empty things. And a person cannot think about negative things or things that one should not think about. This will naturally focus a person's mind and thoughts and being on certain kinds of positive things. Unless a person has zero understanding in general and specifically of the mitzvah of tefillin, in which case he probably should not be wearing tefillin at all. Rambam says here, a person is required to try to wear them all day. And this is the mitzvah, this is how it is supposed to be. So you have here the lashon of tzarich adam lehishtadel liyothan ala kol hayom. Tzarich always means one is required to do so, but it is not. Rambam does not write hayav adam liyothan ala kol hayom. Why not? Because there are various situations where a person is unable to do so according to the halacha, and therefore tzarich lishtadel you have to say, but to say hayav you cannot say, because there are certain factors and realities that may make this impossible. This is one such place that another place that I referred to. Another one is in Hilchot Korban Pesach. Yes, Rambam says here in Perek, in Hilchot Korban Pesach Perek Yod, you can see that, I believe, Halacha Zayin or Yud Aleph, Keshe'adam ochel et HaPesach, I'm sorry. When eating the Korban Pesach, Rambam goes on to say, Halacha Het, I should say, V'tzarich adam lehishtadel, the same language again, Shelo yash'ir mi basar Pesach ad boker. One has to do one's utmost that none of the basar of the Pesach, of the Korban Pesach, remain uneaten till the morning. Shene'emar lo tuthiru mimenu ad boker. Why does it say tzarich adam lehishtadel? Why doesn't it simply say v'hayav shelo yash'ir? Because it's not always up to you. You may be anus, lemashal. For example, if 40 people were menuyim on this Korban Pesach, and 15 of them got food poisoning and are unable to eat from the Korban Pesach now, it may be the case that those remaining will not be able to finish all of the meat of the basar of the korban pesach, and you're anus. You cannot eat beyond. You're not allowed to eat korban pesach achila gasa, and it's no longer in your hands. So things which are not 100% in your hands, Rambam says, sarich adam lehishtadel. One has to do one's utmost and attempt to live up to this, following this particular idea. In our case, in Hilchot Deot, in Perek Shishi, when discussing about how one plans out one's life, what kind of how one is to plan and make one's way through life. One important question is the kind of person that one marries. Is someone trying to ask a question?
Yes, I think there's some. We think there might be an issue with your audio.
Someone there trying to ask a question?
Yeah, Rabbi, there's an issue with your audio apparently, because you're not hearing me either.
I cannot hear you. If you are, yeah. So I will continue. So Rambam says here, lefichach, this is in so Rambam says in Halacha Gimel or Beth, lefichach tzrich adam lishtadel sheisa bat tamid hachamim. One should do one's utmost to marry the daughter of a Talmid Chachamim, of a true Talmid Chachamim. Because if one does so, then one is establishing one's home, and therefore one can assume that it will work out in such a way. One is establishing one's home with a woman who grew up in a home of Torah, and therefore she understands the basic understandings and assumptions, concepts and values of Jewish life, of a Jewish home. And these are things that are very difficult to teach and to fully comprehend and internalize in a crash course of a month or a year or even two. Not so easy. So this is a very important point. And the same is true with regards to his own daughter. One should do one's utmost that his daughter marry a Talmid Chachamim. And to socialize with them, eat and drink with them, because that is part of the experience of being with Chachamim, learning from them, speaking to them, etc., hearing what they think about, what they discuss. And one should also do one's utmost to engage in business with Talmidei Chachamim, for all the reasons that we mentioned, both because you will thus be interacting with such people, also because you will be helping such people make a living, and they will be helping you to make a living if you engage in partnerships or arrangements which are mutually beneficial. And to connect with such people in all possible ways. As we said before, the way to connect to Hashem is to connect to people who are closer than most people to Hashem and who understand more. And thus we find in the Mishneh Masechet Avot, literally sit in the dust at their feet. It says here, in the earlier, more precise versions of the Mishnah, it says b'sim'ah, as the word appears in Sefer Yirmiyahu, and drink, literally imbibe their words, their thoughts, with great thirst and longing. So we shall stop here for today. Hayu beruchim. Hizku v'yames levavchem kol hamiahalim Adonai.
Thank you, Rabbi Bar-Hayim. We would like to encourage our viewers to share these videos with friends and send in your responses. We would also like to suggest the following opportunity to our viewers. If you identify with Rabbi Bar-Hayim's message and would like to sponsor or dedicate a video interview with the rabbi in honor or memory of a loved one, if you would like to obtain Birkon Nusach Eretz Yisrael or invite the rabbi for a speaking engagement, please email us at office@machonshilo.org.